You know, sometimes the history of a movie is just as interesting as the movie itself. There was a version of today's lesson plan floating around 2013. Really, nothing happened with it, kind of died. And then another version came out about 2017, making the art film festival circuit. Now, for those of you who love and admire my reviews, and I know there are many of you, you always hear me say, this movie is too long, it needs to be. These folks listened, okay? When this movie first came out, it was 1 hour and 57 minutes long. And, you know, for a movie that long, this version that came out now, 2019, and is going to get not only the play for the film circuit, but also in theaters and, of course, the all-important home video release. This version is 97 minutes. Much, much better. This movie is good. You looking for a nice thriller, a nice horror film? This one fit your bill. Cinematic class is about to begin, and your professor is in. Ladies and gentlemen, I'm Fiore, your cinematic professor and purveyor of cinematic truth. And our lesson plan today is this. This is called Living Dark, the story of Ted the Caver. Now, I've got to tell you right off the bat that apparently the story of Ted the Caver was a internet original. Somebody started making posts about this character and his adventures, and before you know it, it caught on, and now, of course, it's a major motion picture, as they say. You know, every Saturday I like to get together with family and friends, and, you know, we have some nice little snacks, usually of an Italian nature, and obviously bottles of wine, and we like to get together and have what we call Sci-Fi Saturday Night, where we watch horror movies, space movies, science fiction, thrillers, and just have ourselves a good time. This was an excellent selection for Sci-Fi Saturday Night. Boy, I had a good time with this thing. If you're familiar with the story that originated on the internet, then you may know what this is all about, and you may feel rather comfortable, because I had no idea going into this what it was about, so it had a little special ta-da for me, because I had no idea what was coming on this. You know, it's all about two estranged brothers, and they're played by Chris Cleveland and Matthew Allen, or he might say Allen, I don't know. And they play the two brothers that are, well, they're estranged because one stole the other one's girl, okay, and ended up marrying her. There you go, all right? They're called back together again when their father mysteriously dies. And as they try to figure out what happened to their dad, they find out that he had discovered this amazing new passage in a cavern. Now, these guys are all cavers, so they feel it's important to finish Dad's work and see what's in this hidden cavern. Oh, you know that's wrong right from the get-go. This cannot be a good thing. This movie is shot great. For those of you that say, well, you know, Fiore, that kind of sounds like that does sad. Wow. Okay, let me tell you a couple of things that set it apart. First off, you have to remember that the whole purpose of The Descent was to put together a female-driven horror film, all right? What they basically wanted to do was get a group of Ripleys together and then have them encounter these strange creatures in a cave, all right? Once you get past that agenda thing, you can sit back and enjoy the movie. This one, you don't have an agenda to. It's a straight story, and it's a lot better. And I'll tell you another big difference that makes this good. You know, when you go into The Descent, there were always these big, large caverns that were very, very dark, and therein lie the creatures. This is not like that. This is about squeezing into little tiny spots and working your way into another chamber. I'll tell you what, if you suffer from claustrophobia, this movie is going to send you straight up a wall, because the way it's shot, let me get the director of photography here, Craig Bauer. is the director of photography, and he does a great job on this. You will start to feel like, like this when he's shooting some of these sequences. It makes it really, really worthwhile. Now, a little bit more about this movie. The man behind it is David L. Hunt, and this version is out currently, is the better version of all the things. It's 97 minutes, as I said in the open. It's called Living Dark, the story of Ted the Carver. The opening graphics on this are really good. Okay, so as soon as the opening scene occurred, the opening credits, I sat back and said, ooh, this has some potential. This looks like it could really be good. And it did not disappoint at all. I don't see how you can go wrong with this one. It is currently, if you're in some of the bigger markets, you can find this in the theater. It's put out by Monarch Home Entertainment. So for those of you who don't have those, big market cities that have a plethora of theaters and can house independent films like this, well, fear not. It is on VOD, home video, and video on demand. It looks like this. It's called Living Dark, the story of Ted the Caver. I had a blast with this movie. It's a really good sci-fi, let's scare 'em up type movie. So if you have the opportunity, don't let this one sneak by you. The script is good. The photography is really good on this. And it keeps you in suspense for a long, long time. But when you finally do see the cave dwellers, nice. It's worthwhile. Can't go wrong with this one. Living Dark. Now that you have learned what you have learned, you're in